There is a very real difference between actual social justice and shameless race hucksterism. Unfortunately, the mainstream media, Democrat politicians, and activists are incentivized to treat even the most obvious, most damaging to the fabric of society examples of race hucksterism as pure, unambiguously righteous crusades to help the innocent downtrodden. Uncomfortable facts that run counter to this narrative are ignored or downplayed to the best of the left-wing institution's ability to do so. Apologies, at the point that the truth eventually comes out, are either non-existent, pale in comparison to the damage that was wrought as a result of the institutional failures, or they are so disingenuous and perfunctory that the subliminal message of the apology is, yeah, we knowingly misled you and made the situation abysmal, and we'll do it again and again and again. Because each time we do, and we get away with it, we actually gain more money and influence, passing the cost of our shenanigans onto you like a parasite. What are you going to do about it, peasant? We are the power here. You are our subjects to be acted upon. Nothing is going to change for the better because you won't dare call us out. Just watch your stupid Marvel movies, eat your fast food, toil harder for an ever-decreasing standard of living, and leave us, your betters, to run the country. Right off a cliff. To illustrate my point, we need to talk about the Portland, Oregon Red House eviction defense, which lasted from September to December 2020. To hear the media, politicians, and activists tell it, the story was that a Black/Indigenous family was being forcefully evicted from their home that they had owned for 6 decades by the greedy mortgage lender and investment company so that they could redevelop the land their house was on. The son of this family, William Kinney III, who also goes by the name William X. Nietzsche, said, quote, "It's a fight against systemic racism and gentrification that's been going on for years. My family comes from this land, and to see it taken without right and by gunpoint, it's outrageous to me," unquote. And this poor family, facing this discrimination, would be forced into homelessness in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of Oregon wildfires and a cold winter. The state of Oregon had even passed House Bill 4401, which was a moratorium on any and all evictions for renters who were unable to pay rent due to economic hardships wrought by COVID-19. When Portlanders heard about this injustice, they came by the hundreds, for months, to camp out and barricade the block this house stood on, and physically repelled any and all police attempts to safely allow the new owners of the house to take possession. If you squint real hard, this situation might look like social justice to you. I assure you, however, this was pure, shameless race hucksterism at its finest. The real story goes, the owners of the house mortgaged their home in 2002 in order to pay their son's legal fees, when William X. Nietzsche was convicted of a felony hit and run, third-degree assault, and the juvenile equivalent of criminally negligent murder for inflicting the death of an 83-year-old man, Frederick Gotts, and significantly injuring his wife Anne. William was 17 at the time, was driving with a suspended license because he had been previously caught driving without insurance. And when he hit the couple, he was running a red light. Per William, the cost of his legal fees came to $26,000. But that would not be the last of William's run-ins with the law. In 2007, he was arrested for unlawful driving and drug allegations after police found him asleep in a van with the engine running, and crack cocaine and a large wad of money in the vehicle. William should not have been driving since his previous conviction permanently revoked his driving privileges. Authorities issued warrants for his arrest in 2008 and 2009 after he repeatedly skipped out on courtroom dates in his case. Police finally arrested him again in 2010. The judge found him responsible for 2 counts of driving with a revoked license and possession of a considerable amount of cocaine. At his sentencing, the judge also found William in contempt of court 12 times for loudly and repeatedly interrupting and speaking over her and the attorneys. While in jail, William violated guidelines on 15 occasions between 2003 and 2013, including possession of contraband, assault, and disobedience. On April 6, 2020, Multnomah County Animal Service officers cited him with 2 infractions for physical mistreatment of his puppies. Kinney was sent mailers notifying him of the infractions and instructions that physical abuse is not to be used as a form of punishment. Any more violations could result in more fines or fees. The $200 infractions remained unpaid as of December 11, 2020. So, to summarize, this kid William X. Nietzsche was a total asshole. His parents mortgaged the house to pay for his legal fees to try to limit the amount of time he spent in jail for his first major offense. But honestly, he's been so unapologetic and seemingly intent on reoffending that it seems to me that he might have been better off if his family had used a public defender, not mortgaged the house, and given him more time in the clink to actually consider the downside of breaking the law. But the family, the media, politicians, and activists framing this situation as being about systemic racism, gentrification, discrimination is not just wrong, it's frankly disgusting. What does the unfortunate history of racist housing practices in the United States have to do with William running a red light and killing someone with his car? Explain to me the straight line that so many people want to draw between redlining, segregation, or white flight, and this family deciding of their own free will to hire a lawyer to try to help their son and then not paying back the money after 18 years. And here's the real kicker. The family was never in any danger of becoming homeless. On December 15th, Oregon Public Broadcasting reporter Jonathan Levison said, quote, "In press releases, the Kinney family said the developer was kicking them to the street during a pandemic, during wildfires in the middle of winter. Basically, the perception was that this family was going to be entirely homeless. On that framing, the Kinneys had many people come to their aid. City streets were blockaded by force, and they raised over $300,000 from the community. So we found out that this narrative wasn't entirely accurate. The family has a trust that consists of a home valued at more than $600,000, and they own it free and clear. So the Kinneys absolutely have a reason to say that Portland's historic treatment of black families has been terrible. It has been, but it wasn't accurate to tell supporters the family would be living on the streets if the Red House wasn't saved." Unquote. And I love how he threw in that bit about Portland's historic treatment of black people, as if that had anything whatsoever to do with this family using optics, ignorance, and white guilt to pull off a con job. The family ended up getting $300,000 of donations to save their second home, which they bullied the developer into selling back to them for his purchase price of $250,000. Before that, the city of Portland gave in to the protesters' demands and agreed to prevent the eviction as long as barricades that had been erected would be dismantled. So, who ultimately paid the price for allowing this cynical, shameless race hucksterism to succeed? Certainly the city of Portland, since another months-long Chaz-like autonomous zone of lawlessness certainly doesn't improve the prospects of future tourism, property values, business investments, etc. The police, that had to waste countless hours accommodating this madness while severely understaffed and tired of the anti-police sentiment among Portland protesters. And how about the cause of actual social justice? Haven't the real white racists of the world been emboldened by a new example of white guilt run amok? If you want this kind of thing to stop happening, you have to be brave enough to say that there is a difference between social justice and race hucksterism. You have to educate yourself enough on each situation to know which category it falls into, and you have to let the media, politicians, and activists know that you will not stand for them getting it wrong.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Hi guys, Media Shadow here. I'm trying to grow the channel and hopefully get more than one video out a week. So if you like what you've seen, please give me a like, subscribe, share, or drop me some coin on Patreon. I've left a link in the description of the video. Thanks!
Give him his fucking